So you mentioned some of the bigger boys. Can you give us a quick rundown of someone who's never heard of CIC and didn't realize that we have this educational piece?
Mhm.
Who is this? Is the person with the 2 unit? Like, can they benefit from this? The person who's got 500 units, is there something for them? Just what is the spectrum you guys cover on the educational side?
Right. Okay. So yes, we will talk about, okay, so when you're buying a two flat, right? That's pretty much where people start their investments. They house hack or whatever you want to call it. They want to be a landlord or owner operator. So yes, again, because the ordinance is still, I always tell people to act, it's in Chicago, it's our laws. So you need to understand that, because again, Chicago's a very tenant friendly city. So it matters, even though Jessica, if I live here, it doesn't apply, you should still operate your businesses if it does, right? So interacting with tenants, the eviction process is the same. So all of those day-to-day operation functions that you would need to know if you operate from 2 to 50 to 200, it's still the same. Now, for bigger companies, where we come to play, again, I provide, because it's a different need that they have, because a lot of the bigger companies, they have their own hiring, their own education. But what I'm learning now, because a lot of different mid-sized management companies, they're coming to me for like fair housing classes, right? Because again, CIC, where we're embedded in the city and what we do as an organization, we're mission driven for affordable housing. That's a big part of what we do. And we provide free fair housing workshops. So it just made sense to, be in those places. And then they have a open space that they can talk about the issues, because a lot of the bigger management companies, if they're inside their company having their education, they feel more restrained to express what they're having issues with, opposed to coming to a smaller class and they can just talk it out, as far as like if they need assistance, and it's more of an open space for them. So.
It's interesting. You guys do all these seminars on the different seminars on the different topics. Just talking about kind of currently what you're seeing, like where's there a gap in investor or housing provider type knowledge? Is it around the new laws in Cook County? Is it getting used to the couple housing, the changes that happen as far as notice? Like, kind of give us your rundown of what you're seeing, or where you think there's a really shortfall in what people need to know.
Right. So, 2020 hit when COVID happened. That put a lot of people in a world span, because again, they didn't have systems in place, right? It was still a lot of, because these are mom and pops, so they weren't doing online bill pay. They weren't doing virtual tours. They weren't doing, how to communicate with our tenants online. So technology, when COVID hit, it was just like, Jessica, show me exactly what I need to do. I need you. So we had to switch gears, get everybody Zooming, talk to your bank. You would be amazed how many people were still doing cash payments for rent. We're still doing lease, pen to pad, not having actual leases. So when that happened, your accounting system has to be set up correctly. Your operations had to switch. Again, people working from home. How do we do this remotely? Everything happened. I mean, all of the things that happened in the world, it happened in our space. However, we're so face to face. It's so transactional that a lot of people, they were looking for technology, help. With the city, the ordinances, it was a lot of things that we had to come to play. I know we're 2 years kind of out of it. But it was a lot of systems that people had to overcome. What I'm seeing now with small investors, and believe it or not, I'll tell you this, during COVID, because we did go online, all of my classes were well attended. I've seen a growth in attendance on the online webinars during the COVID. I mean, I don't know if they were just at home investors, they just had, time to watch and understand and learn. But it was a great time for, education. Now, as far as what's happening now, people you thought that, the eviction, once the emergency rental assistance payment, how is that going to play out? They thought that everybody was just going to foreclose on their building. We have yet to see if that's going to happen. but vacancies, like now, it's still a weird space. Because again, the screening process has changed. You know, we went through COVID, but we also went through a transition in our screening process with the just housing ordinance of Cook County, how we screen our tenants for background checks. Now it's becoming an income issue that I see. How are people income qualifying for the units? Because again, now people are entrepreneurs, and you know, the days of the check stubs and all this, you got creative, I call it, during crisis, people became creative. And now it's really hard to income qualify folks. So I think that's going to be a little challenge going forward, unless we come up with like a best practice or something on that as well. So what CIC's doing, of course, we're still doing our traditional webinars, but we're moving into mixed use. Even though we've always had mixed use being a part of our lending model, I'm actually doing my first introduction to mixed use ownership coming up in May. So be on the lookout for that.